Hi there and welcome back to my channel, Full Stack Explorers. Today we will talk about handler and how it's work. Alright, let's delve into it and let me explain what handlers are. In Fresh.Js, handlers are functions that define how your application responds to different events or requests. They are commonly used in routes to handle HTTP requests. For example, you can have a handler for a GET request to fetch data from a server or a POST request to submit form data. Handlers are essential for building web applications as they determine the behavior of your application when certain actions are performed. In other words, handlers are the workhorses behind processing incoming requests and generating responses for your web application. They act like instructions that tell Fresh what to do when a user visits a specific URL or performs an action. Imagine a restaurant where a waiter takes your order the request and delivers the food the response. In Fresh, handlers are similar to the waiters. They receive the request the user's desired URL, figure out what needs to be done, render a page, fetch data, and then deliver the response, the final web page the user sees. Let's check practically how handlers work in Fresh.Js. Here I'm in the same project which we are following from the beginning of our journey. Let's go to the routes folder. In routes folder, go to blog folder and open up the index.tsx file of blog route. Let's make a handler here. The syntax of handler is like this. Let me explain the code. I have made a variable category data which contain an array of objects. Each object contain category name, category status, and timestamp. Consider it that data coming from database. Let's write a handler which render this data to my current route. Let me explain the code what's happening here. This line exports an object named handler as part of the module. It is of type handlers, which likely defines how to handle different HTTP requests. The object contains a method get which is an asynchronous function used to handle GET requests. This is the handler for GET requests. It takes two arguments _rec request and ctx context. Inside the function, it tries to fetch the categories from category data array and then renders a response using ctx.render categories. This line returns a response with the categories array to be rendered. The await keyword is used because ctx.render is likely an asynchronous operation. Now how we can get that data in our route. We are unable to access handler in our blog function. Now, as we talked about props in last video, here they used to get the data which renders from handler. Add props in param, which have type page props provided by Fresh.Js. Now, if we want to access the data, you need to use props.data. Let's see on console what it shows. As you can see, it's showing the handler's data here. We can utilize that data and show to our client side easily, which we will talk about in later videos. One thing I want to tell you guys, which is if we are using handlers in our routes files, we will use ctx.render to pass the data in our component. But in API folder, we will send a response to client side to get the data. We will talk about APIs folder in the next coming videos. Now let's summarize what handlers do. When a user visits a URL, Fresh matches it against defined routes. The corresponding route handler is then responsible for fetching any necessary data from a database, for rendering the appropriate HTML template the structure of the page, filling the template with data making the page dynamic. Handlers can also perform other tasks like redirecting users to other pages, handling form submissions, responding to API requests. If your application has an API, Fresh provides a simple syntax for defining handlers, making it easy for beginners to get started. In a nutshell, handlers are the essential building blocks that determine how Fresh responds to user interactions and requests, ultimately shaping the user experience of your web application. If you like this video, please share and subscribe to my channel to support my work. That's it for now. I'll see you in the next video. Happy coding!